This is the Alphacool Eistools Crimping Kit, and what the crimping kit is designed to do is help you in the assistance of creating or modifying new cables. The pieces of paper that are included show you how to depin the cable as well as create a new cable with the tools that are included. The tools that are included with this kit is a set of ratcheting wire crimps, which allows you to crimp the pin to the wire. And again, as you can hear the clicking, they are ratcheting, which means once you get to a point, you'll just crimp it closed and it will open and free again, and you'll be all set and good to go. On top of that, you have interchangeable teeth that allow you to crimp the different types of pins. Anything from ATX to Molex to fan pins are included inside of the kit. On top of that, what you have is this really neat wire stripper, which on top of taking the insulation off of the wire, it's actually adjustable to get the perfect amount of wire to insulation to work with what you're trying to do. So on top of that, you have a pair of side cutters, dikes, tin snips, whatever you'd like to call them. They're fairly sharp and actually very accurate, so those are really nice to have. You have a measuring tape to measure out your different wires to get an exact measurement. But the last but not least, what you have are the depinning tools. And these tools are used to remove the Molex pins from the connector. And this Molex tool is used for the removal or creation of ATX pins. Now, all of the tools that you see here are included, as well as this, which is a sleeving thimble that allows you to jam the wire inside of the thimble here, and then you can feed the thimble through your sleeving, which is also very, very handy. All of these tools that you see here are included in the kit, and what I wanted to show you a little bit more in depth is how this ratcheting, crimping tool actually works, as well as show you how the wire stripper actually works as well. So the wire strippers that are included in the kit are adjustable in two different ways. One way that they are adjustable is the amount of insulation that they will actually take off of the wire. You can adjust this from anywhere from 25 millimeter all the way down to only a couple millimeter. I think it's about 2. But say you wanted to get all of the sleeving exactly right and wanted to have all of the wires to be exactly right, you could use this tool to make sure that each and every one is exactly stripped at 10 millimeters. So in order to use this, say you have a piece of 22 gauge wire like I have here, you can use your snips to get yourself a nice clean cut. Then what you can do is, depending on how much insulation you actually want on here, I'm going to go for about 10 millimeters. You will insert the piece of wire into the actual crimp here, butting up against the orange piece, and then what you'll do is you will squeeze down and it will automatically strip the wire of the insulation exactly where it needs to be and drop it right here for you. And it will remain that way until you change it. Now, on top of that being adjustable, the insulation being adjustable, it also is adjustable depending on how much of a bite you want it to get onto the piece of wire. For example, this is just 22 gauge wire. Now, if we use something a little bit bigger, like 18 gauge, what you can do is adjust how much bite it actually has. So now when it cuts through the wire, it doesn't take too much of the wire with it, and it actually does remove the insulation as it's supposed to. So that is the stripper tool, which again is adjustable by the length of the amount of insulation you want removed, as well as how tight you want the bite to be. Paired up with the wire stripper, what you can do then is now use the ratcheting crimper. Say you were trying to make an extension cable for your Molex, and what you would need is maybe an 18 gauge red wire and a black wire, and some pins. Right? So this is a female Molex pin. And what we're going to do is, because the teeth on the crimper here are designed for the different pins, we will be using the farthest one in, the closest one in, which is the largest one of them all. So in order to crimp this properly, what you will do is you take the crimper, you take your pin, and you get it inside of the wings here. And what you may need to squeeze the pin a little bit, just the wings a little bit, to get it to go in. Then, once you have it in, I usually give it one click. You heard that one click. Now that it's got one click, I know that the tool itself isn't going to release unless I push the mechanism here, the release lock. And I know that I can now set my wire in where I'd like it. So then what I'll do is I'll take the 18 gauge wire and stick it inside of the crimper here. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to put the wire not all the way in, obviously all the way into the connector or into the pin, but what you're going to want to do is make sure that the insulation is past the first set of wings, because the first set of wings is where it actually clamps down onto the insulation of the wire. So you just insert the wire into the connector, or into the pin rather. And now that I have my insulation past the first set of wings, I'm going to crimp this down. And as you can see, I've got my hand completely closed on this. The tool is completely closed. And as you let go, you can see that the pin is in the top there, connected to the wire. You just push it down a little bit, and there you go. You have the wire that has now been crimped to the pin correctly, and the first set of wings is crimped onto the insulation itself, and the second set of wings is crimped onto the wire as it should. Then you can actually use this wire and put it into your Molex connector. This crimper can be used for Molex pins, ATX pins, and fan pins. So this crimper will allow you to do pretty much any cable that you need inside of the case. Last but not least, what you have are these depinning tools, and the one that I have in my hand is designed to use on ATX connectors. So the male or the female side, it does not matter. This tool will work for both. Simply insert the tool into the connector, give it a little push and a pull on the wire, and you can see that it makes depinning a breeze. The other connector tools that we have here are for the Molex side. They come in 3 different sizes, big, medium, and small. The big and medium are used for the female side, whereas the small side is used to depin the male side of the Molex connector. Again, just by simply inserting the connector or the tool over the pin in the connector and pulling on the wire will remove the male side. And then depending on what style of connector, whether it be a pass-through, a 90-degree, straight, you will have to either use the middle size or the large size one. So as you can see, the middle size doesn't exactly fit on the Molex connector, the female side. So we'll use the largest one by inserting the tool into the connector and pulling on the wire. You can see that it pops down and allows you to depin the male and female Molex side. So with these tools, you're pretty much good to go when it comes to making any sort of cable custom, modified, or even just replacing a pin.